targets. Do you want me to start over?
Yes, please. Yeah, go ahead and just start over. You just got started. Yeah, I thought I'd click record, but I hadn't.
Oh, no, you're okay. I know you're going to upload it.
Mhm.
Okay, so hello, everybody. My name is Hannah Sydow. Today, we're going to be talking about reducing cyber risk. Um, so thank you for so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm very excited today. So cybersecurity is not just about being technical, it's about being practical. Most cyber attacks today don't start with sophisticated hacking. They start with something very simple. So an email, reused password, or an overlooked device. Small businesses, especially solo businesses, solo entrepreneurs are often the easiest targets. Not because they're doing anything wrong, but just because they're busy or they just don't know the potential threats out there. So good news is you don't need really complicated systems to protect yourself. A few simple habits and setting up automated systems will help you in the long run. So a little bit about me. I hold a cybersecurity certification from ISC squared. I'm also the marketing deputy for the Colorado ISSA chapter. Currently, I work as a sales and marketing account manager for Sydow Inc., which is a cybersecurity compliance company. Today, we're going to talk about 3 actionable steps that you can take to secure your business today. We'll have some key takeaways, and then I will open the floor for Q&A. So, cybersecurity, think about it this way, locking your digital doors. So, cybersecurity applies to everybody, not just businesses, but especially businesses. Even as an individual, cybersecurity is something that you need to be aware of and thinking of. Simple tricks on how to avoid being an easy target. You don't really need to be technical to be secure. There's small steps to dramatically reduce the risk. And then the focus today is going to be simple, practical protections you can implement immediately. So, step 1, inventory. If you've ever worked in risk management or you've heard of risk management, number 1 phrase you'll hear is you cannot secure what you don't know. So, easy steps that we can do today. Make a simple list of devices and software. So you can pull out a piece of paper, open an Excel document, whatever works best for you. But whatever you do business on, so your personal phone, if you have a work phone, a laptop, whatever it is, make a list in there. And then also the software. So if you have email, so if that's Microsoft or Gmail, if you have a CRM, which is where you keep your client relations management, QuickBooks, payroll, even LinkedIn, I would put anything social media, a list of anything that you use for your business, right? And then color code it, prioritize whatever is easiest for you. Make sure you identify what's most important in there, right? Um, I would say if I made a list and I put my phone in there because I use my phone for work and my laptop, I would put my laptop first because if anything happened to my laptop, I would not be able to get as much business done. So prioritize, understand what would happen if you lost this or you lost access to it. Number 2, identify what's most important. If you have customer data, if you are a social media marketing person and you have emails or if you have login information, that's not yours, but you manage it for somebody else. Make sure that that's secure. If you have any financial records, if you have any health information, let's say you had a laptop that you used for business and then you got a new one. Make sure that you remove all accounts, access, intellectual property, any downloaded information. Remove what you don't use, right? So we'll get rid of the old tech. We'll get rid of accounts that you no longer use. If you stopped using Instagram, for example, make sure you delete the account. Don't just delete the app, right? Do all of that. So that was step 1. Step 2, we're going to lock the doors. So public Wi-Fi, right? Must be nice, but honestly, there's another saying, if it's free, that's because you're the product. So personally, I would never use business. I would never do any of my business, um, logging in to private accounts, my banking information, anything like that on public Wi-Fi. So cafe, airport, I mean, even my friend's house, I would not do that. And the reason why is because if people are sitting on the network, they're waiting for somebody to log in and send those credentials. You might as well just stand up wherever you are and shout out your username or your password. So you want to be very, very careful when using public Wi-Fi. Second, another way to great way to
Hannah, I had a question. What about if you use the data network from your mobile provider? Is that generally secure?
um so if you were to be connected to the Wi-Fi through your mobile device, it tends to be that's a good question. Let me pull away and let me think
No,
about
it wouldn't be Wi-Fi. You'd be connected to your mobile carrier, your
Oh
data
yeah, yeah,
plan.
yeah. So, okay, sorry, I misheard the question. No, so that tends to be a little bit safer. If you were to be connected to a mobile device versus, or whichever carrier. So if you were in a cafe, instead of connecting to the Wi-Fi, if you were just to do 5G or whatever, stay on that, it tends to be a little bit safer. Still not recommended, right? But if you need to have access to that, log out of the public Wi-Fi and do it that way. That's a great question.
But you would suggest not even doing banking or any of that over your mobile network?
Yeah, I
It
would,
sounds like you don't feel that it's that secure.
it's not super secure. No, I mean, and again, like nothing's completely 100% secure. But being in your home where you have your, network firewall set up, that's probably going to be the safest. But public Wi-Fi, cafe, airport, anything like that would be probably the least secure. So I would get off of the public Wi-Fi and then log in if you needed to. Anybody else have any questions about that?
You mind if I chime in, Hannah?
Yeah, go right ahead, Carlos.
So I just got back from the Channel Pros in Vegas, and Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile touted their new security systems in a room of almost 1,000 people and MSP providers across the U.S. Cybersecurity, telecommunications. Jay, I asked the one question I knew did not want to hear: how do you protect the mobile device? And they're like, well, the systems we have are in place for the office environment. You have to have separate systems on the mobile device to lock that down. So I hope that helps answer that question, because what you think you have set up in your office doesn't automatically translate to your mobile device, nor is their service that secure. So there are options for that are specific to mobile devices. So I hope that helps. It is definitely not secure.
Yeah. Did I answer your question, Jay?
Yeah, the answer is I have to talk with you and Carlos.
Yeah. Well, perfect. Yeah, no, I love that question. It's a good question. And that's the problem with cybersecurity. We're like, yeah, kind of, it depends. So yeah. So I'm gonna jump into the next part, passwords. And I was talking a little bit about this with Carlos at the beginning. Really key takeaways is having a strong, unique password. And one of the ways you can do that is with a password manager. And I'm going to share a couple links with you guys in the comments in a little bit. But if you like honestly never reuse a password, I've seen it so many times where people will have a password for their LinkedIn, for any of their social medias, right? It could be their like favorite dog or favorite color or whatever, right? And they put 123 at the end. And then they use the same password for their banking information and they put 321, right, at the end instead of 123, right? So if somebody gets that password, the first thing they're going to do is try that password against any of the accounts that you have. So the best is to use, never reuse a password, to always have a strong, unique password. And there's password managers that you can use that help with that. So they'll come up with a unique password for you and then they'll save it. Because at the end of the day, you probably have like a million passwords that you need to keep track of all of your personal ones and then all of your work accounts, etc. So Sorry, so another one is going to be about MFA or 2FA. 2FA stands for just two-factor authentication. MFA is multiple factor authentication. So essentially for my phone, if I logged into my bank account, it sends me a password to my phone number, right? And then I can also do that with my laptop, right? It will send it to one of my accounts. So unless somebody has access to my phone, they can gain access with my username and my password, but unless they have access to my email or my phone or, Microsoft Authenticator or Duo is another one, unless they have access to that, there's no way they'll have full access to my account, right? Another one is limit access. So if you have a work laptop, personal laptop, you should have obviously your admin access, and that allows you to make any changes you need to for the computer, right? But you should not be logging in as an admin to your personal laptop or your business laptop every single day, right? So you should have a second limited user so that when you're using it, and if something were to happen, that they don't have access to change anything on their end. So that's just another way to decrease or increase hurdles if anybody were to have access or gain access. All right, we are on to step 3. So safety net. So preparation is key. Understand that it is when and not if. Today, especially with AI, everybody's getting attacks from all over. Doesn't matter if it's personal, individual, solo entrepreneurs, large corporations, small to medium businesses, everybody is now a target. So we go back to that list that you made, right? That inventory list. You should also have a list of people who you contact in case something were to happen. Do you know, do you have a business continuity plan? Do you have a disaster recovery solution? These are definitely more in-depth conversations we could have later, but that's definitely something you want to be thinking of. Do you work with an MSP? Do you have an internal IT team? If it's just you, what do you do? These are good questions you need to think about is, what do you do if you no longer have access to your laptop? If you no longer have access to your phone, your tablet, any of the software that you use? Another thing is create copies. If you have intellectual property that you've created, so if you are marketing, guru, and you have your secret formula to get everybody's business out there, don't save one copy to one location. Make sure that that's saved in multiple locations in the cloud. So Google Drive or OneDrive, and then you can just save it onto the computer or a flash drive. And then lastly, and this is so important, and I was talking to one person a while ago about this, but you need to be updating often. So patch management. So whenever your computer says update, you need to update now. I knew somebody who did not update their phone. So every time there was a new software update that came out, an iOS update, they did not do it for 5 years. I don't even know how they got away with that, because I feel like iPhone would just automatically update, but they did. They got away with not updating it. And those patch managements, that's like fixing a fence, right? If there's a hole in the fence, we want to patch that. We want to fix that. So if you don't update and you keep pushing it back, you are increasing your vulnerability, right? And as we mentioned earlier, small businesses, individuals, they're often easy targets because they're easy entry points. So understand, when, not if. Key takeaways. So we talked about asset inventory. Make sure you understand what hardware you have, what software you have. Lock your doors. You want to limit access. Have a safety net. So here are some things that you guys could do today. Spend 1 hour to get to know what tech you're using and then update them. If you realize, oh, I use the same password for all of my accounts, let's go ahead and reset those passwords. Use a password manager and set up MFA. Make multiple copies of critical data and make sure that you save them in a secure place. Don't use admin account. Create a second account with limited access. And then just stay diligent. Have discernment. Oftentimes, if you get a call or an email and it's very urgent, it has to be done right now, you have to reset your computer, otherwise you can't access this Teams call, or you need to call this number because you've just been hacked. Like anything like that, and that urgency, they put you in that state of fight or flight to throw you off, right? And so you want to make sure you have discernment, make sure that you don't give access to people who should not be having access to your account. So thank you. Here's a little bit of my contact information. I did put my LinkedIn into the chat. There is my work email. Down here, the free risk score, that's something that we created for people to take just to see where their business is right now, where are their vulnerabilities. And it gives you a little score at the end. And it was funny, we had one business who took it, and they had 4 or 5 individuals individually take it. And their scores range from 8 out of 10 to 2 out of 10. So communication was not there for them. That company, they needed to go through our gap assessment, which was a whole nother story. But we show them their vulnerabilities, and some people thought, oh, I thought I was secure, I thought I was good, and other people were like, no, I knew we were vulnerable here and there. And then the other one is going to be the contact page for our personal website, so Sydow. So yeah, so that is my presentation.
Awesome. I'm gonna try to. No, I have to take out of. Trying to
Can
get
we
out
ask questions?
Yes, this is
Yes,
perfect.
please.
Go for it.
And by
Okay,
the way, I am not an expert. I'm still learning.
Mhm.
But I'll try.
that's okay. I'm not going to ask you anything too hard. These are opinions. You mentioned many times about password safes and about, I've noticed in my travels that a lot of my customers use browsers to remember their passwords. That means they're using Google or Microsoft or Firefox. Is that
Yes.
safe, or should they use a third-party program for that? And what do you recommend?
So some of them do, some of them have that, and sometimes they'll have a prompt of, here's like a password, and you'll see it's like 25 characters of random, or 25 character length of like random letters or whatnot, and they can save that. And that can be helpful, especially if you have multiple accounts, and saving it that way. That's just another thing you want to be aware of updating
No,
it.
but I mean, should we be
Really?
trusting Google or Microsoft or those big companies with all of our password? If anybody hacks Google, they'll have everything from my company.
Yeah, so nobody's safe from being hacked, right? That's why I mentioned like it's not a matter of if, it's when. Um, that would be something that's really up to your discernment of whether you want to or not. They have tested it. Large corporations tend to be a lot more safe, like a lot safer with those. They tend to put those have a lot better cybersecurity behind that when they're doing that. So I will share a link with you on the best password manager tools and MFAs from Cyber News and Cyber Tech Stack. They're pretty good articles if you ever want to follow them. But yeah, the short answer is it's really up to you if you want to. It can be beneficial, and usually they have it segregated so that if they do get hacked, they don't like nobody has one access to every single thing. Usually it's very segmented.
Okay. I just
Well,
feel
I'm,
more
I'm just
comfortable
asking
using
because
like, yeah.
I've looked
Okay.
into this. There are companies that make programs that are specifically for people that don't really want to trust the big tech companies with everything. I found
Yeah.
a program called Protected Text. It's free, no ads, and you can put a text file up there, or many of them. They don't keep track of the passwords. If you lose your password, you're out of luck. But nobody can get into it but you. And it's free. They're not trying. They do it out of the goodness of their heart. There's a program I use for communication, for chat and texting and voice, called Signal, which is a
Mhm.
protected program. It's encrypted, it's protected. A lot of people use Proton Mail for their email. So I'm just wondering, like, these different companies make these products for a reason. What do you think?
Mhm. Um, Personally, I don't have my passwords saved all in one location, and I have it saved, some on my phone, some saved in password manager, some saved in different things. I have different, I don't even use the same MFA. I have Microsoft Authenticator and Duo and different things like that. So for me, it's diversifying where I keep those passwords so that, and then not using the same password too. So yeah, personally, I like to have separate password managers, especially. And most of the time, like I really don't ever use them. So sometimes like I'll use it for like maybe my LinkedIn, right? Something that I use every single day and that I know is secure. But if I have it for um like my payroll or my CRM, so I
Actually,
don't do
that's
it
another
that
thing
way.
you just brought up. Uh, these companies like Facebook and so forth want you to use your LinkedIn, your credentials for them for every other service that you sign up for. I don't do that. I make up my own username, my own password, but I'm sure a lot of people do that. If somebody got into Facebook, they'd get into all the other services that they use Facebook to get into.
Yeah, that's the same thing, right? So if I were to use my Gmail account, and use the same password, they would go sign up
Hmm.
everywhere that I have that Gmail account. And that's the first thing and it's so much easier and so much faster with AI because then you could just tell AI, here's the username, password, go test it against everything, see what works. So yeah,
And then I'm
those
thinking
are
of something, I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but what if anything happens to you and your executor or whomever has to take over? Are they going to know all the different places that you have are they going to be able to get into all those accounts to
Mhm.
cancel them on your behalf? What do people do nowadays? It never used to be as complicated as it is now.
And that's the thing, that's where
And like you
legality.
said, all the MFAs that you have, every account they want to cancel, they have to have all the MFAs to be able to acknowledge all the codes. I don't know if it's even possible to do that.
So that's a really good point, Jay. Yeah, I
I
think
work with a estate planner that has a program. I think it's 299 one time, and then it's a system that'll keep track of that. And then you have an executor, whoever that is, that has access to that only after you pass away. So
good.
that
Hmm.
doesn't kick in until they don't have access until you pass away. But then you're going to be the one, you're kind of doing the work, but are the one that's making sure that that's updated. So at least at that point, you have the estate planning in place for everything else. And then this one package that she offers that literally just has all your passwords for the rest of your life, your digital life. Because that is like you're to your point, our digital life is now completely separate from what we do on a daily basis, and it's exposed to everything. You know, we use Proton. I use Proton personally for my passwords and LastPass and Google. Now,
Yep.
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
Hannah's point, I use all three on a different level for the stuff that I don't care about. The game, some of the stuff that's just, hey, there's no information, there's no financials, there's no credit cards that I'm adding to that system. I don't care. Let Google handle that, right?
Hmm.
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the social media, that's going to be taken care of by LastPass. Financial stuff that I have, I let Proton take care of that. So now, to Hannah's point, even if you got into my gaming passwords and my who cares about my Evite or Eventbrite password? I mean, that really isn't going to expose my financials to anything, right? That's on the basic level. Then the second tier is LastPass, third tier is Proton. So it
Okay.
sucks that we have gotten to this point, but it's kind of the reality of it now. Because I mean, I just out of my own curiosity, I went ahead and pulled up, what is the timeline for Google breaches, and it hasn't skipped a year. 2026, 2025 twice, 2024, 2023. I mean, every year something has been exposed in the Google environment. Every flipping year.
By the way, Andy had a point in the chat. He
Yeah, I
just
see
said,
that in
but
the
if you
chat.
put your credit card on Eventbrite, they could have. I thought of that too. They still could have access to that. That's true. You know what I'm thinking? I did a talk about this at my Tech Fridays 2 weeks ago about e-wallets. I don't even carry a wallet anymore because I have everything in the e-wallet: my driver's license, my credit cards, my inoculation cards, my insurance, my health insurance, stuff like that, my car insurance. But I feel safer with that than with a wallet because you can lose a wallet. If you lose your phone, they can't get into that. And if you give your card or if they skim your card or if they photograph your card or any of that, they can't do that with the e-wallet. So I feel safer with the e-wallet than I did with a conventional wallet. But I'm trusting Google. They have it
Yeah.
all.
Me too. That's an interesting point because a lot of people, especially in younger generations, they have everything on their phones, and I like I'll see little kids at coffee shops, 12, 13, 14, who will walk up and just scan their iPhone for the Apple Pay and different things like that. And so that's one thing that I have never done is put any of my credit cards onto my iPhone. That's just something that I'm just like, personally, I don't think it's secure enough.
I don't even
But
have NFC, um, the Wi-Fi, or any other outside Bluetooth on unless I'm in my own environment. I go to the
Yeah, that's
happy.
good advice, Carlos. I turn off NFC when I don't need it. So I turn it on, I charge it, I turn it off, but everything is still on the phone.
Yep.
And
mhm.
it's so convenient. I mean, I wouldn't want to go any other way. I mean, the idea of taking out a credit card seems antiquated to me.
Yeah, I won't even do
And
that.
like Hannah said, young people more than anyone now, you can even use your watch. You don't even need your phone.
Have you ever heard of sniffers, Jay?
I'm not sure what you mean. I probably have.
So a sniffer is literally going to look for a Wi-Fi signal, a Bluetooth
Oh,
signal,
yes. Yeah, they drive around and look for signals. Yeah. Yes.
I think it was
That's because
2 years
that's
ago.
because router companies used to sell routers unprotected.
Yeah,
So unless people put a password in, they could very easily get into your network. Yeah, they
2 years
changed that pretty quickly.
2 years at Black Hat. A guy walked around the Black Hat convention, which is Hannah knows Black Hat, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Um, all the cybersecurity companies all in one place. And he just walked around with a sniffer in his backpack, and it had a prompt for any iPhone user that would pop up and say, "Hey, your Apple password has expired. Please re-enter it."
Oh.
He did an article after the show was over explaining that he got close to 100 people that went ahead and re-entered their password at
Hmm.
a cybersecurity convention. I'm sorry, if my phone alerts me that I need to put in a new password, I'm turning off my phone the rest of the show.
That's right.
Right?
You want to hear something really scary, Carlos? I did a Tech Friday about this. Microsoft discontinued updates for Windows 10 in October 14th of last year. 1 billion people are still using Windows 10 without security. By the way, Hannah, I just referred a billion people to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, right.
And some people are moving to Linux, moving to Mac, going other ways, but a lot of people are just using it and they don't seem to be concerned.
No.
I'm sure a lot of them are businesses. They can't all be resident. Even either way, it doesn't matter. They're vulnerable.
So what happens then? I mean, they're not
Microsoft
supporting
is
it.
offering they can pay $20 and get a limited extension of the security, but very few people are taking advantage of it. They're just running it as is and throwing caution to the wind, I
Wow.
guess. What else can you
I
say?
mean, you guys are watching me from Denver. Like, I live in Denver, but my IP address is either Chicago or um, I think I've moved to Chicago. I used to be Dallas. And I digitally moved to Chicago recently. But my IP address, I have a single IP address for every single one of my devices, including my cell phones, which most systems will give you an IP address for your computer, but your cell phone, because it's on, we were talking about this earlier with Verizon or AT&T or T-Mobile, is dynamic. Well, I've got a
Hmm.
static IP address for my mobile device, which is almost unheard of. And so if my phone goes out of Colorado, right, even though I'm in Chicago, it will alert me and go, "Hey, you are logging in from Vegas, from Florida, from Malaysia, from Russia." It like automatically alerts me of that and blocks it, throws it into quarantine, whatever's trying to get into my device. And so that's the extreme level of what you can do, knowing
Wow.
controlling your own IP. That is,
I've thought about having it. I've had dedicated IPs in the past, but I never thought about doing that for a mobile device.
there's
By the way,
only
Joyce, do you mind if I take Carlos and Hannah and have lots of meetings with them and do tons of business with them and they do tons? Is that okay with
You
you?
got your own little like Three Musketeers group there. Yeah, that's great. I love it. I'm a matchmaker, man.
this is perfect.
That's
I'm
right.
glad I showed up today, Joyce.
This is
Me
amazing.
too.
It's really kind of cool that we had this little more intimate group. And it turns out Maria, and if you saw that, she had a phone call she had to go and grab. So man, I think I'm gonna just fail this whole test here. I was just doing this on the side. Oh well. Yes, so where are we time-wise? We're okay. This
I-
has been perfect. I'm going to turn the recording off, though. I think we're
Yeah, we're
pretty
good.
much gone through that. We can
Just to give you
stop
an idea
that.
how scary it is, Jay. And I know
Uh,